So currently you're in the major planetary period of Venus. We've been talking about Venus since the beginning of this reading because Venus rules the star Purva Shada or Purva Falguni, which is the rising constellation or the rising nakshatra in your horoscope. So the dasha of Venus is going to be very instrumental in fulfilling the most important kinds of destiny or dharma in the current lifetime. And because you have Venus as the 10th house ruler, the house of the ruler of the career house in the 9th, and because it is aspected by a strong yoga karaka Mars, who is the lord of the 9th house, you have a strong Raja Yoga involving Mars and Venus. So this Venus dasha is going to issue forth significant destiny in the service of the Guru and the Guru Parampara, residing in the temple and performing services which spread knowledge related to Krishna consciousness and related to the path of self-realization. All of this in a general way comes about during the major planetary period of Venus. Now, Venus is also in the movable sign of Aries, and also at 12 degrees of Aries is the constellation known as Ashwini, and Ashwini being ruled by Ketu has a particular relationship with Venus in the Navamsa chart, which gives us the expectation of you're doing a considerable amount of moving or changing residence and or traveling frequently during the Venus major period. All of this, of course, having to do with the particular duties that are prescribed for you in Krishna consciousness. We already talked about Venus and its yogas. Number one, there's the Raj Yoga with Mars involving you in the service of the Vaishnavas, performing your sadhana in devotional service, and moreover, doing those things which spread Krishna consciousness. Now, it should be pointed out that the 9th house concerns the performance of punya, or the performance of punya karmas in this lifetime, which will be very instrumental in shaping your future destiny. And the fact that Mars aspects the 12th house and the ruler of the 12th house, which is the moon, this means that all your activities going on now, specifically during the Venus dasha, will be very instrumental in bringing you to the stage of liberation at the end of this lifetime. So this Venus dasha is quite long. It's 20 years long. It having began in 1981, which is just around the time of you were 6 years old. So you've been pretty much used to this dasha for quite some time now. And in fact, the 20-year period of Venus is coming to a close within 5 years. Currently, you're in the sub-period, or the bhukti, of Saturn, which began August 22nd, 1994. And the sub-period has just become Jupiter, which began May 21st of 1997. This sub-period will last until October 22nd, 1997. And Jupiter, of course, has everything to do with writing and publishing and teaching and being involved in the distribution of knowledge. Jupiter in your Navamsa chart forms some strong yogas. It's involved with the Sun in the sign of Virgo in your Navamsa chart in the 11th house. The Sun-Jupiter combination is very auspicious in the chart of the spiritualist, both of them being sattvic planets. Jupiter and Sun and Moon are the three planets representing sattva guna in Jyotish and Vedic astrology. So either the conjunction of Sun and Jupiter, or the mutual aspects of Sun and Jupiter, are very auspicious for the elevation of consciousness, the development of the higher mind, and the purification of the self. Jupiter makes one involved as a teacher, as a preacher, someone who gives direction or vision, advice or counsel to others. Jupiter also puts you into contact with some high-placed persons or devotees of high stature. Jupiter's period, because of the mutable sign that Jupiter occupies, you will move during the sub period of Jupiter, and I think that you mentioned you've already moved since the beginning of the sub period of Jupiter. In any case, working for the Dutch BBT and working for publishing and writing and those kinds of ventures should be very fruitful at this point in time. Next, you go into the sub-period of Mercury. Mercury's period lasts from October 1997 to August of 2000. Now, Mercury's period is auspicious because Mercury is in the 7th house of your chart, and according to various indications, leads one to believe that a marriage is forthcoming during the sub period of Mercury. And even if it doesn't happen during the sub period of Mercury, it'll certainly happen during the sub period of Ketu, which follows. But let's just say that between 1997 and 2000, Mercury's period has the capability of bringing marriage into your life. I would give it some time, however. In Vedic astrology, when we're timing events, we use a system, the dual transits of Saturn and Jupiter, to be able to time an event. Now, Saturn, when it contacts Venus, and the dispositor of Venus, which is Mars, when Saturn influences both of these in his transit, that will be the time when there should be marriage in your life. Now, when Saturn therefore enters into the sign of Aries, this will take place in April of 1998, and Saturn will stay in that location. Saturn will stay in the sign of Aries up until spring of the year 2000. So between 1998 and 2000, there is marriage, or there is the strong possibility of it. Now, simultaneously, we have to look at Jupiter, because Jupiter, being Brihaspati, the demigod who gives blessings, as well as who is the commander, the priest in charge of the demigods. Jupiter will move into the sign of Aquarius in 1998 also. In January of 1998, Jupiter will be transiting in your 7th house, and which is also the 7th house from the moon in your chart, where he will transit over the sub-period lord, which is Mercury. So you're in the Venus Dasha Mercury sub-period, while simultaneously Saturn transits over Venus and Jupiter transits over Mercury. As you know, Saturn will stay in the sign for 2 years, Jupiter will stay in the sign for 1 year. So when both of them are simultaneously in their transit, affecting the significators of marriage, and when those two significators happen to be the major and sub-ruling planets, namely Venus and Mercury, then we can therefore narrow down the time when you are likely to get married. So I would say sometime in 1998, when the dasha of Venus, sub-period of Mercury, and the sub-period of Venus is in operation, and we're talking about from May 17th, 1998 to November 5th, 1998. Something like an opportunity for marriage, or the actual marriage itself, should come about during those months.